9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Fly guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
Yo, it's game week, Tone.
Yes, sir.
We are here. No more talk. No more rankings. No more nothing. It's game week. They are at practice today. They're going to put in a game plan. We are installing our schemes. We are installing our blitzes. We are installing our coverages and hidden coverages. It is time to get down to business. We are.
You don't like the list? You don't like the controversy? That ain't your bag?
Man, I'm so tired of that damn nonsense. I don't know what to do, man. Everybody, you know what I figured out? Everybody has something to say, so they can say they had something to say.
So basically, everybody just want their crack at the nut. Basically, everybody
they just want to get into the conversation. They don't really, they're not invested in it, but they just want to tell somebody like, yeah, I had something to say.
Or, hey, my opinion is more valid than the previous one. So listen to me. It's all about ego. It's all about egos. But guess what? This is the beautiful thing about sports. This is the beautiful thing about football. It don't matter what you say. It don't matter what you think or believe. Everybody going to suffer an ego death, especially on Thursday night. Eagles, Cowboys, baby. It all led up to this. You feel me? I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy. Y'all know where our bodies be. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We appreciate the love and the support. Subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports. As you guys can see, new look, new digs, new energy, new vibes. We've officially given a name to what we do here. You guys have been getting this content weekly for a little over a year now. I would probably say, Markus. Maybe a year in the nose. Who knows? But Markus and I have been connecting regularly over the past couple years, and we finally put a name to the bullet. You feel what I'm saying? We finally gave this thing a name, something that's a little true to us, that still holds that energy to why you guys are here. The Bald Eagles. As you can see, Markus is of the bald persuasion. So am I. So, so you guys, something that's true to us, but also true to the soil, true to the cloth of what we're trying to weave here. So you guys know the energy, man. Make sure you guys stay locked in. Subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports, man. We really do appreciate y'all. Let us know what y'all think of the name of the show, the name of the podcast. We really do appreciate y'all. So make sure y'all lock in, man.
Put the feedback in the chat, man. We doing it. We getting it done. It's apropos that we talking about Cowboys week and everything that happened with Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card. They thought it was, and I even thought that it was part of the negotiations. This is part of the process. Everybody's trying to play chicken. Both parties are standing 10 toes down, but at the end of the day, Micah Parsons got the leverage because he's a generational talent. And you know what? This is one of these things where I try to tell people, it doesn't matter who you are. At the end of the day, the owners have the final say. Be it right or wrong, the owners have the final say. It is their money. It is their toys to play with. And they do with it what they feel. And a lot of times, it's not always in the best interest of the team. And of course, another situation. Now, mind you, the last time this happened, this was 30 plus years ago, but another situation where Jerry Jones' ego gets in the way and he gets rid of the best man in the locker room. Last time he did it, it was against Jerry Jones. You had an opportunity. Jerry Jones let a dynasty walk out the door. That's what he did.
Wow.
Jimmy Johnson was that good. If you wasn't around when Jimmy Johnson came from Miami and like everything that he was, as far as a coach, he was so far ahead of the curve, it wasn't even funny. And the one thing that Jerry was smart enough to realize is that's why he hired him from Miami, and it immediately paid dividends. And then when it got to the point where they had reached their altitude and they literally could have been a dynasty, they could have done, in my opinion, they could have won probably about 2 or 3 more Super Bowls if Jimmy Johnson would have stayed there. This is how good Jimmy Johnson had that team. When they fired Jimmy Johnson and they got that coach from Barry Switzer from Oklahoma, that team didn't miss a beat because they coached themselves. Barry Switzer didn't have to do nothing but drive the bus.
Exactly. What they created something that was almost autonomous.
They were damn near unbeatable.
And it lasted for another season.
Yeah.
You know, that guy got a Super Bowl in his back pocket off the work of what Jimmy Johnson created.
Yeah.
Right. You know, Jimmy Johnson out of Miami, he established that long ago. He brought his football acumen from Miami to the Dallas Cowboys and created something special. Now, granted, the Dallas Cowboys were something special even prior to, you know, Jimmy Johnson, right? You know, the Tom Landry and Staubach, you know, era, right? They were able to get it done then. So, I mean, look, and that's prior to the Jerry Jones purchase, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jerry Jones walked into legacy. He eventually created his own, and now he's, in my humble opinion, poked a lot of holes in it. And,
absolutely.
And everything that's transpired over the past 25 plus years, just to be modest about it, everything that's transpired over the past 25 plus years, it's unfortunately worked against them.
He's slicing his own tires, man.
And the sad thing is, there's been moments where I'm like, okay, Jerry put together a pretty good roster here. There have been seasons where Jerry, I don't want to completely let these players off the hook. Let guys like Tony Romo, Dak Prescott off the hook. I can't, because Jerry Jones has cultivated rosters. He has. You know, I remember when they had the DeMarco Murray run. You know, when they drafted Zeke, and then that season where they had a 4,000-yard passer, 2,000-yard receivers, and 1,000-yard rusher, or was it a 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard tight end? It was something crazy. Like, it was that season where they just had crazy production from all skill position guys.
They had a squad.
They had Zach Martin on the offensive line. They had Tyron Smith, right?
Mm-hmm.
They I think at one point they had Biadasz before he went to the Commanders. They were a very dynamic team. That defense, they've had top 10 defenses throughout the entire Dak Prescott era. So again, I look at the Cowboys, and sure, it's easy to say Jerry doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not against that narrative at times, right? But there's been a large portion of that where he has given these coaches something to work with, and either the coaches can't get it done or the players, whoever you want to put the finger to.
Yeah. At some point you gotta dance with the one you brought, and you gotta let these people that you paying all of this money to, you gotta let them do their job. And to me, that's been Jerry Jones's kryptonite. He can't get hands off. He doesn't coach. He doesn't block. He doesn't call the plays. But he wants to be involved so much to the point where, why is your owner having a press conference after every game? His job is to upstage everybody that's there. Everybody knows that's Jerry World down there. Everybody knows what it's about. He don't have to keep telling them. I love to use this example. This was like that girl in high school that was cute beyond her years, but she wanted everybody to tell her she was cute, and because she did that, didn't nobody like her. It just comes off different when you tell everybody what it is. I'm the best. I'm this. I'm that. I did it. I was. It comes off different. We all know that's the case, but you got to let somebody else say it. When you say it, it comes off different.
Well, it's the Dallas Cowboys. It's everything they've built is centered around ego, flash,
three-ring circus.
Exactly. It's been a circus there for years. I mean, they came out with a documentary this year regarding, I guess, that dynasty with Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders, and whatnot. I mean, they everything they do is built around the brand. How can we elevate the brand? How can we elevate our stock? How can we please, our stakeholders, our shareholders, whatever it may be, right? Everything is centered around raising the bottom line for the Dallas Cowboys instead of raising banners. That's the difference between the Cowboys.
You know what did it for me? Was that last year or the year before? When was the year where he didn't want to close the curtains in the stadium because the sun was coming in?
That was 2020. Was it 2023?
I think so. Because I'm like, so wait a minute. This is not the first time this has happened. Your players are telling you that when you're in that corner in the end zone and they're looking for the pass, the sun is right in their face. You have a way to eliminate that problem, and you don't do it because of your ego. That's the way the stadium is built. Blah blah. Like no, your players told you that was a problem, and you didn't fix it. Your players told you they were uncomfortable with, being in the aquarium of fans walking around watching them work out in the weight room. Players don't like that.
I think that's the weirdest shit.
Well, no, that is a guaranteed, verified moneymaker. Ooh, you want to see an athlete in his natural habitat? It's like going to the damn zoo. And he capitalized on it. That's one of those things where you never thought somebody would take that far. It's like, well, maybe your players are telling you they don't appreciate that. That makes them uncomfortable and everything that can come with that. Because you in the weight room, you ain't got no clothes on. You got your you got your shorts on, and your shoes. That's about it.
Right.
So that's supposed to be your time. That's like quality time with your teammates. It ain't supposed to be nobody from the outside. It's supposed to be you, your teammates, and your coaches. Period. And then Jerry's done made that a sideshow. So there have been situations where they've told him the things that they didn't like and things that were going on, but to the point, the ego comes in. I'm Jerry Jones. This is my money. This is my team. And then ain't nobody gonna argue with him. He got into a war with the local content creators down there because the content creators was ripping them a new one. The content creators, even the ones down in Dallas, at least some of them will tell the truth. As opposed to the people on the radio, they want Jerry Jones to keep coming to the shows because that boosts their numbers and money. But if you on YouTube or you're a content creator, you got a little bit more anonymity and you can say what you feel.
Because you're not beholden to the
exactly.
You're not beholden to the corporate side of this thing.
Yeah.
It's like us, right? We cover the Eagles, and luckily we have great things to talk about, but we're not beholden to having to appease them as a brand, as a corporation. We can have free reign opinions. We're not, there's no overhead above us. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, so look, the Cowboys, they made this bed. They lie in it, right? Let's really get into the nitty-gritty of who they are. I was doing a live stream a couple days ago, and we're so used to breaking down this team through the lens of, okay, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence is on that defense, right? Okay, Trevon Diggs, Deron Bland has emerged, right? Okay, who's this guy? DeMarvion Overshawn, right? You know, they had players that you had to Zach Martin, okay, we got to make sure we could handle Zach Martin on the interior. This Cowboys team, we were used to digesting and looking at this Cowboys team one way. Now there's a new lens we have to look at them through, at least for the 2025 season. Yes, they have Dak Prescott who could put up numbers, but who is he after the torn hamstring? I think this is his second significant injury in his career.
Yeah.
Significant.
And let me be honest with you, I didn't even realize that DeMarcus Ware was in Seattle.
See, that's what I'm saying. But it happened so early in the offseason because he was a free agent and they decided not to bring him back. It happened so early. That's why it's important we look at them through this new lens because so much has changed around them.
Yeah.
And they're not, it's a divisional rival. So you want to say they're a threat, but when you really break down just who they are, how they're built, how they're constructed.
Right.
And think about how the Eagles are constructed. The Eagles should be able to handle business no problem on Monday. Oh, I'm sorry, Thursday. On Thursday, they should be able to handle no problem. Handle this no problem on Thursday. I think the game plan doesn't have to be complicated. Again, we know Dak is going to put up numbers, right? But who is he after this torn hamstring? What's his mobility like? Then okay, CeeDee Lamb. We know what CeeDee Lamb's going to give us. He's a talented brother. I'm not even worried about CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens, talented brother. Let's see how he fits into this new Brian Schottenheimer style offense.
Right.
Okay. Now we get beyond the big names. Let's really get into the foundation of their offense. Offensive line. Young, unproven as a collective, unproven as a group. You got Tyler Guyton, second-year player, who actually is dealing with a knee injury, and he likely won't be active for that game. He's supposed to be your heir apparent to Tyron Smith. You know, they had the guy in what's my man's name? They have Tyler Booker, the rookie they drafted. I think he's at right guard.
Yeah, Tyler Booker was the one that was talking trash on Jalen Carter.
Exactly. They have Connor Beebe as well as center, second-year player, young, raw. They got Terrence Steele. You know, they got Tyler Smith. They got like 3 Tylers in that line. They got Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, and Tyler Booker. I think Tyler Smith is a Pro Bowler, if I'm not mistaken. Make sure I got this right here. But Tyler Smith is a 2-time Pro Bowler and a 1-time second-team All-Pro. He's probably their most decorated offensive lineman. But as a collective, they're young and they're unproven as a group. And to take it a step further, they have no running game. Who are their running backs?
Deuce Vaughn,
somebody that hasn't really gotten any play. They got Miles Sanders over there. They got Jaden Blue they drafted, right? They got
I forgot Miles Sanders went down there.
Yeah. You look at their team, you're like, okay. Outside of Dak Prescott and trying to pad the stats, what are they really going to be able to do offensively consistently and sustain success? So that's that. But the defensive side is where the real meat and potatoes are. That defense. Okay, you moved on from Micah Parsons to again. I'm not mad at the move. I feel like they could have got more back. They could have got somebody that could help them not just now but also in the future. I don't understand how they walked away from that trade.
I didn't even know Deuce Vaughn got cut. The only reason I said
Deuce Vaughn got cut. Damn.
Yeah, the only reason I know Deuce Vaughn is because they made such a big deal because his dad worked in the front office. And they let him call his son to let him know that the Cowboys was going to draft him. And then he didn't even really.
Did they allow his dad to call him and let him know he got cut?
Yeah, exactly. Probably not. Bring your playbook, son. Bring your playbook.
But let's really look at their defense, right? Because we're going to be talking about this all week. And we're going to have so much to break down even after. But let's really look at them for a little bit.
Real quick, Trey Brown, Dak can talk. They can do all the talking they want. It's going to come down to Thursday. So the time for talk is done. So I don't know what he said. I haven't heard any clips this weekend. So, you know, he probably tried to give some coach speak about, you know, what let me say it like this. What do you expect him to say? If somebody asks about the Eagles or anybody else, what do you expect your quarterback to say? Other than, yeah, we can handle anybody. And if he doesn't, then he probably shouldn't be your quarterback. So I don't bother me.
Yeah, Dak is as long as he's not going overboard like he did that one like last season where he's like, oh yeah, we're winning the Super Bowl. Who was he talking to? I can't remember who he was talking to, but like he declared that the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl or going to be in. Was it Aaron Andrews? I think it was Aaron Andrews.
Yeah,
it was prior to the season, prior to the opener, and declared that they were going to the Super Bowl. Okay, all right. Nonetheless, let's break down who they are now because Micah Parsons isn't there. He's not a part of the game plan anymore. DeMarcus Lawrence is not a part of the game plan anymore.
Yeah, I think I said DeMarcus Ware. It was somebody said that in the chat, like it's DeMarcus Lawrence. My bad.
Yeah. DeMarcus Ware had been looking crazy as well, like flaunting Super Bowls that he didn't even win. But nonetheless, DeMarcus Ware did win one with the Denver Broncos, though, and he is a Hall of Famer, so he is solidified. Don't get me wrong, but I don't need him going crazy with Dallas Cowboys, but he didn't win those. Anyway, Micah Parsons is gone. Now, who is this defense? Let's really look at it from front to back. Let's start with the new addition. Let's start with the defensive line. You move from Micah Parsons. Now you got Kenny Clark there at D tackle. Now, at face value, you say, okay, Kenny Clark should be able to help your interior. That's something that they've been complaining about all offseason. I've been paying attention to these Cowboys content creators. They've been complaining
it's better than what they had.
Yes.
Better than what they had. But when you lose, when you got one and then you got rid of the other one. Now, if they would have got Kenny Clark and Parsons was still there, that's a duo that's formidable. But you didn't gain any ground, in my opinion. I think you lost a step.
Yeah, so you lost a step in some way.
I'm gonna take the 26-year-old. I'm gonna take the 26-year-old generational talent that's been a Pro Bowler every year he's been in the league. Or Micah's what, 25?
26, right?
He is 26. But clearly Micah is the better player. Clearly Kenny Clark is a good player, but also 30 years old.
I'm glad you brought up his age. That's another reason why I look at the trade and I'm like, you could have got you're trading Micah Parsons and the 2 first-round picks. Okay, cool. But you walked away from that trade with only one player. And on top of that, a player that's 30 years old, likely his prime is behind him. Like, you didn't walk away with none of those young studs that Green Bay has. You didn't walk away with Adrian Cooper or Devontae Wyatt or Quay Walker. You didn't walk away with none of those young edge linebacker type. You didn't walk away with none of those young D tackles. You didn't walk away with nothing. Now, granted, Kenny Clark's contract gives him a lot of flexibility. After this year, he has 2 years left, but they can cut ties and not owe him a single dime. So
that was what Jerry was looking for. Because when it's easy to say that, but you got to remember, the Packers have to agree to that. That the Packers have to offer that.
No, of course, and I think this is where the flaw happens in the decision making, where people criticize it so much. It's like, okay, y'all clearly were at an impasse contractually. If you had any inkling you wasn't getting this deal done, trade them prior to the draft. Get more for them. Catch a team slipping. Catch them on their heels. Catch them when they're desperate. It's a week before the season starts.
Well, Jerry's did say that decision did not come down like within the last 5 days. He said they had been thinking about and trying to plan this for a while. And I'm like, okay, but you could have got him signed months before all of this had happened. So we can't pretend like all of that didn't happen. You could have got Micah Parsons to re-sign, and he would not have reset the market. He did not want to do that.
Yes.
So
I agree with you,
in my opinion, the whole thing about Jerry Jones not want to deal with David Mulligata, his agent, is you have to deal with. You are an owner.
How do you sound? You don't want to deal with the player's agent, and
then you sign DeRon Bland the 2 days after he leaves. Get out.
Coming off of a, and this is the problem with Jerry. Every move he makes seems to be reactive or somehow tied to his ego.
Yeah.
Right. During the whole negotiations with Micah, you know what else they did? They said, you know what? Let's pay our tight end. Let's pay Jake Ferguson. Like that contract's pressing. Let's pay Jake Ferguson. You know, let's trade for George Pickens and overcomplicate our situation because he's in the final year of his rookie deal. You know, let's let's pay Bland after we trade him just to show that it wasn't about the money. It's everything is reactive with this guy.
Yeah.
So now their defense is compromised. Kenny Clark, aging D tackle. I like the guy they have, Osa Odigizua. He's coming off a good season, but you just paid him. That's another guy they paid.
Yeah.
They paid
everybody but Micah.
They paid Jake Ferguson. They paid Osa Odigizua. They paid Deron Bland. And you allowed Micah Parsons to walk out that door. Excuse me.
And AQ, I don't think that if that is true, what you're saying, that Jerry shipped him somewhere he thought Micah would be miserable at, then Jerry's not paying attention.
You should have sent him to Tennessee or something. First of all, why would you send him to Green Bay? Why would you trade him in the conference? Listen,
conference.
Football
guess
101.
Who knocked y'all out of the playoffs last time? If I'm not mistaken. Well, so that don't make any sense, Q. But that it wouldn't surprise me if that was Jerry's thought. I just think Jerry, that was the best deal he could get. And then the picks that he got, there's no guarantee for them picks. What's the percentage of first round picks that end up busts, let alone lower first round picks?
Yeah, he's gambling. Like he's
big time gambling.
He's gambling a lot. And
not when you have a bird in the hand.
But guess what? This goes back to that documentary thing. What's the name of that documentary again? I
don't even know. I ain't never watched it. And don't plan on it.
It just came out. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it's called. He's a gambling man, right?
Yeah. Didn't he make reference to that in his press conference?
The Netflix series is called America's Team: The Gambler and His Cowboys.
He made reference to that during the press conference, and I was like, "See, once again, you letting your ego get in the way. Now you trying to live up to what they said about you in some show." Jerry Jones, I said this to you before, Tone. Before it's all said and done, Jerry Jones' last great achievement is going to be his appearance on that show. What's that show with the oil men?
Landman.
Landman. That's going to be his best thing that he's done in the last like 10, 15 years, because it ain't been being a GM. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, for sure, right? You know, I mean, speaking of him being a GM, a couple other players that they're going to be dependent on this season to step up. That's the thing, right? They put a lot of pressure on a lot of these young players early. I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but a week before the season starts, and them losing Micah, in my opinion, that a week before the season, it's going to mess with them a little bit, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's going to sting.
Yeah.
That's going to sting.
Let me just give you some names here. Guys that they're looking to step up. Mozzie Smith.
Hasn't done anything.
Who else we have here? Marshawn Nealand, who's entering year 2. They drafted Donovan Izaraku out of Boston College in the 2025 draft. I like Donovan Izaraku. We talked about him a lot.
I like that kid.
But again, he's a second round pick. We have no idea what he's going to do on the NFL level. He's an unknown, no matter how much I like what he's done in college. He's an unknown.
Is he going to replace the Micah Parsons production?
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you on that 100%. Let me just give you some metrics here, right? About what issues they really have, and they haven't proven that they could fix these issues quite yet. Let's look at this. Kenny Clark, they traded for him. Average his pass rush grade, and again, this is all according to PFF. His pass rush grade, 63.1. Okay, slightly above average. His run defense grade, 57.1. Dante Fowler Jr., somebody they signed this past offseason, had one of his best seasons with the Washington Commanders in 2024 with 10.5 sacks. He spent 2022 and 2023 with the Dallas Cowboys, but now they decided to bring him back. Again, coming off of a 10-sack season, but then you get the Dante Fowler Jr.'s run defense grade from the 2024 season, a 50.0. Marshawn Nealand, defensive end for the Cowboys, young player, only played in 11 games last year, started in 1, didn't produce a single sack. Pass rush grade, 53.4. Run defense grade, 47.2. Their linebacker situation, they had this kid, second-year player, Maurice Lufau. Pass rush grade, 65.6. Not bad. That's decent. Run defense grade, 54.1. They signed somebody in the offseason in free agency. Kenneth Murray Jr. spent 2024 in Tennessee. Run defense grade, 35.0. Solomon Thomas, another guy they signed in free agency. He was drafted in the first round by the 49ers. He spent the past few seasons with the Jets. He never really panned out and lived up to that first round billing. But Solomon Thomas, according to PFF, 41.5 run defense grade. They got Sam Williams, young defensive end coming off of an ACL injury from last season. Will he, what will he be in what's it, year 3, year 4 for him? You just look at that front seven, that defensive line and linebacker rotation. They can't stop the run. They're not built. They're not constructed to stop the run. They're not prepared for what's coming on Thursday.
No, and they got to find somebody on that line. I'm sitting here looking at it right now. Micah Parsons, his rookie year, 2021, 13 sacks. 2022, 13 and a half sacks. 2023, 14 sacks. Last year, 12 sacks. His worst year as a pro is 12 sacks.
Where are they going to? How are you replace? Football's all about production.
Who's going to get that production?
It's all
Who's
about
going to
production.
reproduce that?
Kenny Clark's not getting you 12 sacks.
No,
respectfully, he's not.
No, not playing D tackle and nose.
Right, and here's the thing, right? You have to earn the right to rush the passer in this league. You have to earn that right. And if you can't stop the run, your team is never going to be in a situation to be able to really rush the passer with reckless abandon. You know what made Micah so fascinating for the Cowboys that sure he was limited in run defense, but he could wreck a game for you. He can close a game for you. He can flip that field for you. You don't have anybody on that defense that can, that can really do that for you right now. Now, if you want to take it a step further to the DBs, in particular, those guys who's getting the money, Trevon Diggs and DaRon Bland. Trevon Diggs is coming off of back-to-back seasons where he's dealing with a knee injury. In 2023, towards ACL, was done for the season. 2024, re-aggravated the same knee, had to get surgery on it again, the same left knee where the ACL got torn. And he just got activated off the PUP list a few weeks ago. So I'm looking at Trevon Diggs as a guy who is a former Pro Bowler from the 2022 season and 2021 season. He is a all-pro from one of those seasons. But coming off of back-to-back seasons when you had to get knee surgery of a torn ACL in your left knee and it's still bothering you in 2024, you couldn't finish the season. You're getting the money now, which is that's something I really don't care about, but it's just a part of the equation. They're depending on you to become the bona fide leader of this defense. They're depending on Trevon Diggs to be the best player on this defense. Yeah. And he's 26 years old, young player, has a lot of years ahead of him, assumingly. But who is he after those back-to-back knee surgeries? Who is DaRon Bland after fracturing his foot in 2020 in the 2024 season, not recording a single interception, was in and out of the lineup in the second half of the season, even after being cleared of the injury? Right. How can I expect Trevon Diggs and DaRon Bland, and then you sign Kyrie Elam, a former cornerback for the Bills, who's never really lived up to his billing as well? How can I expect those three players to produce at a high level and defend guys like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jihaad Dotson, John Mechie, Dallas Goedert? How can I expect them to be effective if the Cowboys can't rush the passer or don't have a consistent pass rush, let's say that, and can't stop the run?
You want to hear something interesting? So where did Dallas finish last year?
In the division or in the conference?
In the division.
They were third.
And they last in our conference, right? No, the Giants were last. So how many? The Dallas Cowboys had 52 sacks last year. Guess how many the world champion Philadelphia Eagles had last year?
Like 44, something like that?
41.
41.
41. So where is all of that other pressure coming from? Where is it? Where is it? If we're getting it done because we got the better team, and we clearly had the better team, right? So if you got 52 sacks and Micah had 12 of them, so you had 40 other sacks, it's going to be interesting to see as a team what their sack total is again this year. without him.
Yeah, I also think what's important to note is that although the Eagles had less sacks than the Cowboys, right? Let me give you something to really sink your teeth into. You know how I always say I treat TFLs in the same vein as sacks because they ultimately accomplish the same
thing.
They ultimately provide the same result.
Correct.
Ultimately, they're just categorized different.
Yep.
A sack is when you tackle the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage.
The ball carry. The only thing different is the ball carry.
Exactly. TFL, you tackle somebody else behind the line of scrimmage, right?
But it essentially is a sack. You are correct.
The result is the same. So you mentioned how the Cowboys had how many sacks again?
52.
52. And
because they didn't make it in the playoffs, that's regular season.
Mm-hmm. Now, 52 sacks. They had 70 TFLs. To go with those 52 sacks. The Eagles, on the other hand, had 81 TFLs to go with those 41 sacks.
Right.
So the Eagles lived behind the line of scrimmage. They were able to not only get to the quarterback when necessary, but also get to the ball carriers, play good run defense, set the edge, and they also got a lot of pass deflections. At that line of scrimmage. That's another thing that doesn't get talked about. Jalen Carter had a spectacular season at pass at the line of scrimmage. He's noticed that he's getting double teamed a lot. And he's taking upon himself that, okay, I have to be able to affect the game in more ways than just getting to the quarterback or getting the TFL. How can I affect the game from a distance?
Right.
And he's mastered this thing where if you pass the ball near him, he's going to deflect it. He's done it consistently enough throughout the 2024 season where I have to start actually considering that a part of his game. That has to be a part of the toolkit. In his rookie season, he had no pass deflections, none. His second season, 2024, the Super Bowl season, he had 6. Slot corners get like 6 pass deflections in a season. You know what I mean? Like, it's this Eagles defense is so prepared for what's to come, if you ask me. Now, do they have their questions? But I just think that the Dallas Cowboys defensively, they're asking a lot out of guys who are coming off of significant injuries.
Yeah.
They're asking a lot.
And especially, so asking a lot based on what they're supposed to do anyways. You're asking even more than that when you've lost your best player and somebody's got to step up with that production on the field. So they're getting a double dose of it. And I guess we'll find out if anybody's ready, as opposed to we're looking at a situation where, you listen to the national media, and the one thing that everybody consistently says about the Eagles is, what are they going to do after losing all of those players on defense? Valid question, but that means you haven't been paying attention to Moro Ojomo. You haven't been paying attention. You must not have paid attention when big man Jordan Davis came back almost 40 pounds lighter.
They also wasn't paying attention to the overall nature of the league itself. That 2024 season, the way that defense was constructed was so far ahead, so far above the fray, so far away from the norm that as Eagles fans can become spoiled with the way it's constructed and criticize the way this defense is constructed now and say, oh, we're not accomplishing something. We're behind the 8 ball. And it's like, okay, most teams, for example, at the cornerback position, because that's where most of the concerns are for the Eagles. Most teams don't want their 4th corner touching the football field. That's essentially Keely Ringo's role, or CB5, however you want to put him, right?
Yeah.
Quinyon and Cooper, your 2 best corners, right?
Yep.
Most teams don't have 2 corners of that caliber, let alone 1. Most teams don't have. When we had Quinyon, Coop, Isaiah Rodgers, and Darius Slay, that's essentially that's essentially a combination of CB1s and CB2s. That's not common to have 4 corners of that caliber on one roster. It's not
on one roster starting at the same time.
it's unsustainable because guys eventually want to get paid. Guys eventually want to start somewhere. It's not, you can't maintain that. It's not possible, right? Now, this is not me trying to say we shouldn't have signed Isaiah Rodgers. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, as the Eagles are presently constructed now, whatever we deem as a problem, any other football team would love to have whatever problems we have right now.
Those problems. So they get with our secondary specifically. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard the news about Adoree Jackson. Looks like he's going to be the starter. I don't know if it'll stay that way with Jacorian Bennett back there. I think Jacorian Bennett played better, but I trust Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio says Adoree Jackson is the starter. That's what it's going to be.
And I don't think it's going to stay that way.
Well,
I don't.
I agree.
Because I think kind of makes me think about the whole Cooper DeJean thing. Remember how last season he
absolutely,
you know, he missed a good part of that training camp because of the injury. Then he came back for the final preseason game, and he was kind of on ice the first couple weeks, kind of just getting a feel for what Fangio wants to do. And then he became that guy. I wouldn't be surprised if Jacorian Bennett is a guy that they're still trying to get up to speed, and then when they're ready to put him out there, Adoree Jackson's out, he's in.
Well, it depends on how Adoree Jackson plays. Because we might be saying, oh, where did that come from? This kid looks like he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And they might, and if he plays well enough, they ain't going to take him off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make sense. If he's doing the job, let him do the job. So,
and who knows?
There's no need to create a problem, because whoever you replace him with, that means now they got something to live up to, as opposed to you got somebody that was doing the job who was setting the tone. Leave that person in there until
if Adoree Jackson, my whole thing is let him prove you wrong. If Adoree Jackson ends up being stable, we don't need Adoree Jackson to play the Pro Bowl level. We don't need that. We need him to be stable and be consistent.
Right.
Be stable, be consistent. Don't be a liability out there. Simple as that. That's really how I see it when it comes to him, man. I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say 2 years ago, they were looking to attack James Bradbury.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they were looking to attack. If Avonte Maddox was on the field, they were going his side. Who am I missing? Who was the weak link in the secondary last year?
Oh man, Kevin Byard.
Yes.
James Bradbury.
Bradbury didn't play that much.
Avonte Maddox. Oh, last year. You talking about? I'm sorry. My brain is thinking 2023 season.
Yeah. Last year.
If you want to be technical, the weakest link probably was Reed Blankenship.
Yeah, but he's support.
Exactly. I mean, do you want me to say Slay? I don't think so.
Nah.
It wasn't CJ.
Nah, maybe we didn't have any.
But remember, you said the weakest link, not a weak link.
You know what? No, the weakest link would have had to be Slay. Because Slay, well, not from his play, but Slay was always limping off the field.
Yeah, but yes, he was in and out of the lineup. But I guess I'm talking strictly from a skill set standpoint.
Because saying he's the weakest link is kind of disingenuous, because he wasn't. And I'm saying it specifically for if I'm the opposition and I see Slay is limping, I'm going after him. And that happened more times than not for Darius Slay. I don't think it has anything to do with him being the best cornerback at his age, at his position in the league. That's unquestioned. But if every time he somebody's on the go route, and every time he get back to the huddle, he limping, I'm switching it up and going right back at him.
Okay.
So maybe again, he was good. Slay was so far above board, it wasn't even funny.
He shouldn't have been playing at that level, to be honest.
Not at 34 years old.
The way he looked fantastic in the playoffs. Like that Green Bay game, he was fantastic.
He was on top of it, and like we said it last year, Tone. It was like as long as he stays on the field, he good.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. I don't think Darius Slay got enough credit for being as good as he was, as fast as he was at his age.
He doesn't, and he didn't. I think some people just have their feelings about Slay because of the whole podcast stuff. I think,
but the proof was in the pudding.
I really think
every week.
I really think that's what it is. I really think some people just didn't like Slay, and it was what it was. But when you really just look at it from an objective perspective, Slay was truly, truly a stabilizing force in that DB room. Slay brought credibility to that DB room every time, every week. You know, you had to.
As Blunt saying, Maddox.
Yeah, I guess we were talking about more so as they began to become the defense they became. I guess technically you would say Maddox was the weak link when the season started. Technically. Yeah. So as Blunt isn't wrong. I accepted the question from the premise of who was the weak link when that defense is at their best.
Right.
That's how I processed that question. But technically, as Blunt would be correct. The weak link was Maddox, and they decided to replace him with Cooper DeJean. But I felt like that was the plan anyway. It was just they were behind the 8 ball with it because of the injury.
Yo, Green Wing Man. If CB2 is the only concern, then the Eagles defense is in better shape than most. Welcome to having rich man problems. Now, would you like more caviar on your cheesesteak? I'm gonna skip that. Caviar and cheese don't really go together to me.
That is hilarious.
That was funny.
So yeah, man. Like, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channels, man. Again, subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields the second. That's my man, Markus Thomas, man. The content is still in full effect. As you guys can see, new look. We finally put a name. We finally put a name on this bullet here, the Bald Eagles Podcast. So we're going to continue to pour into this identity, pour into this thing, man. You guys have been phenomenal thus far. Let's keep the vibes going. Again, smash that like button. The content doesn't move without you guys' support. So we're going to continue to push this content forward. And we appreciate you guys just being ultra supportive of this thing, man. It means a lot to us. So, you know, I want to kind of go back to Dallas's defense a bit as it correlates with the Eagles' offense. Saquon Barkley, coming off of the season he came off of. Jalen Hurts coming off of the playoff run he came off of. Do you expect this Eagles team to really just play bully ball in week 1 against this Dallas Cowboys defense? What do you think the answer would be for Dallas to somehow stifle the Eagles?
They would have to do it on 2 fronts. 3 fronts, actually. They would have to shut down Saquon. Then they would have to shut down AJ. Then they would have to shut down Devontae.
Okay, stay there for a second. I like where you're going with this. I like how you laid out what they have to do, right? So let's start from the top, right? Lay out what they have to do one by one, and then we're going to buffer it with, and what's the likelihood of that? So
number one, they would have to shut down Saquon. To do that means they have to overwhelm our offensive line. I don't see that happening.
What's the likelihood of that happening?
Next to nothing.
Mailata, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens. Both Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens coming off of Pro Bowl seasons.
Yeah, but Dickerson is the only thing that concerns me.
Yeah.
Because I want to see how he plays at game speed after that meniscus.
Well, he's going to have a good test. Osa Odighizuwa and Kenny Clark. Osa Odighizuwa and Kenny Clark are definitely going to push the line. And you got Tyler Steen, right? Somebody who we've been developing. I have confidence in Tyler Steen. He's somebody that we always felt had to start, but Mekhi Becton just showed you something unique, and you had to pour into that. But to your original task or objective for the Cowboys, I don't see them overwhelming the Eagles' offensive line. I don't see them being able to do that consistently for 4 quarters.
The only person, and again, you made the point earlier, coming off of a major injury, was Overshown. Overshown was balling before he got hurt.
He's on the pup list. He's not playing. He's not playing this Thursday. He's not active.
Question answered. Because I think Overshown, I think his injury was not unlike Nakobe Dean's. Not the
Yeah,
same thing, but the severity of it.
yeah. Overshawn tore his ACL, I believe, or
Yeah.
I think it was the ACL or the Achilles, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I don't see them. I don't see them stopping our offensive line. The only thing is, I'll say it now, so I don't have to say it, during the season. But I'm hoping that we are not going to try to run inside the tackles all damn game like we did last year.
Well, it's funny you say that. When you think about the issue with Landon, right? You're concerned. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to hit those edges.
Yes. And I think we did, in my opinion, as a running back, I think we did Saquon a disservice by not doing more zone reads and going outside the tackles. Now, having said that, I must realize that I am nitpicking to the nth degree. Who am I to say what we should do with the guy that just went for 2,000 in a season? Why? Do it. Whatever you did last year, do the same thing. But still, I'm looking with my running back guy. I was like, we could have made things a lot easier. And some of those 1 and 2 yard gains could have been 3 to 5 yards if you'd have just bounced one hole outside. And I'm not talking about bounce like he bounces it out. Like, no, your target is one hole outside.
Yeah, it's designed. Yeah,
and change up your blocking schemes a little bit. And you can do that. So we'll see how they deal with that. I think we have an issue that we really haven't thought about is that Johnny Wilson is out and we lose that blocking on the edge. That comes into play a lot.
Yeah. To your point about that, I'm not saying he's Johnny Wilson, but John Mechie is documented as being a pretty decent blocker.
Yeah.
At the receiver position. I
mean, at receiver, I'm not looking for you to pancake nobody.
Yeah, I'm looking for you to hold up long enough for the ball carrier to make his move.
Get your hands on him until your running back passes you.
And the Eagles have players like that. The Eagles have guys who are. See, that's the thing, right? Nobody keeps it cute in their receiver room. And what I mean by that is guys like AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jihaad Dotson. We've seen them throw their bodies around to block. We've seen Devontae Smith, especially as far as slight he is, how willing of a blocker he is.
Right.
You know what I mean? See, blocking, I would say 50 to 60% of the job is being willing.
Oh, yeah.
Because if no matter how, if you're not willing, you've already lost the
body on the body.
The rules of engagement.
Yeah. You gotta put a body on the body.
You gotta put hands on somebody. You gotta get in somebody's way. You know what I mean? And again, you're a receiver. We're not looking for it to be clean. You ain't got to be perfect. We ain't looking for you to get that, that kick step. We don't need none of that.
Right.
We need you to just get in their way, put hands on them, make life a little harder for them.
K. Robinson, we do have a fullback. Unfortunately, when Ben Van Sumeren is in the game, that messes with what we can and can't do as far as disguising what's coming. Unless they manage to put Ben Van Sumeren out in the pass pattern once or twice, and he can prove he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Different things like that. Is Ben Van Sumeren going to shake a linebacker and go on an option route 5 to 10?
Nah.
Doubt it. So yes, we do have a fullback, but you got to understand when you put Ben Van Sumeren, we are giving up some element of surprise because. Like I said, unless he surprises us and, goes out on the wheel route and catches a 20-yard pass, which he could possibly do, but I haven't seen it.
That's how you catch a defense lacking for real. Hit him with the fullback on the wheel route. That's how you catch. That's how you catch a defense lacking. You know what I mean? That's the closest you're gonna get to a Philly special.
Well, that's why. To kind of looking back from last year, the injury to Overshown is kind of critical because Overshown could run pretty well.
When when we played them last year, he stood out to me. He was the one player in that defense that stood out to me, other than Micah, of course.
Yes,
but like,
he did.
Overshawn, he jumped off the screen to me. And then he gets hurt. Man, who knows if he'll be the same.
Every time they had an opportunity to pair somebody with Micah Parsons and take that defense to the next level, something happened. And now you done got rid of the sun. Everything revolves around Parsons.
Everything on that defense did revolve around Parsons.
Around Parsons.
I mean, the DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons duo was pretty formidable for what, 2 or 3 seasons, right?
Yeah. They moved him around. He was the first. He's the first one I can remember jumping up and down the offensive line. You didn't know where he was going to line up, and it really wrecked shop on what the offensive line had to do, because by moving Micah Parsons around so much, the quarterback is always on the line of scrimmage because he's got to call. Is he calling Roger or Louis? Is he calling right or left?
Yeah.
So that determines which way the line is going to block. And if you walk up a safety, maybe you're in 3D zone, but you walk a safety up. Now you too high coverage. At least that's the way it looks. And it also looks like you might have 7, possibly 8 in the box. Now the offensive line has got to do something different. They got to try to make a count. And now you got Micah Parsons just walking up like he going for a walk in the park. You don't know where gap he's going to end up. That was the benefit of Micah Parsons.
He covered up a lot of holes for them.
A lot of holes.
He was the defensive coordinator's dream. You can put him anywhere.
Any good coach worth they salt, you watch tape on your opponent. Who's the worst offensive line in this game? Micah, you move around, but that's where you line up. You can take advantage of. And that was the smartest thing to do. So, but again, now that player is gone, who's going to – I mean, technically, you can make anybody do that. But can it be as effective? Can it be effective? Can it be consistently effective, right? Micah Parsons, listen, fandom aside or rivalries aside, Micah Parsons is an elite player. He's a player you get him, he automatically improves your defense. He automatically improves your pass rush. He's violent. He's athletic. He can drop back in coverage. Again, he leaves a lot to be desired in run defense. But and I don't think he's Myles Garrett. I don't think he's TJ Watt. But he's right there. He's right there. So the Dallas Cowboys have to find out who's going to be somebody they can lean on to create havoc out there consistently. None of those guys on that roster have shown, at least in the Cowboys uniform, that they're capable of wrecking shop consistently and can be relied on in that regard. Osa Odighizuwa is a D tackle. You can't really expect him to blow it, completely just. He's kind of built like Milton Williams, undersized, but really athletic, really talented. Kenny Clark, I'm not expecting Kenny Clark to take over a game. I'm not, especially a team when going up against a team like the Eagles. If we can handle Chris Jones, we can handle Kenny Clark. They just have too many issues. Yeah, and they're young, and young shouldn't be a big excuse, but when those players haven't shown really any signs of being guys that you can really build on or build around, it makes me nervous from a Cowboys fan. That's why I said to myself, if they should have got a young stud from Green Bay. If they would have got Kenny Clark and Quay Walker, I would have been like, oh, okay. Plus those 2 first-round picks, I'd be like, oh, all right, okay. But that lets me know that Jerry was just ready to get this deal done. Yeah. And maybe his price was at least 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, it seems like his whole thing was 2 first-round picks, and I could live with anything else.
Because they might flip them picks.
Yeah, the rumor is flip them, move up to get your quarterback, whatever it may be. But
yeah,
you just paid Dak all that money. He's tied up for until 2028, 2029?
Yeah, and you see all of these teams, they trying to get themselves in position to try to get Arch Manning, and then Arch Manning laid an egg in his first game. So, it's really going to be interesting how much leash they get this kid. Because if that had been anybody else, they would have roasted him. They would have roasted him with all of that hype, and then you lay an egg in game 1 against the number one, the returning champions.
Mhm.
Texas was number one. So guess what? You had it all in your corner and you did not produce. He threw some bad balls. I watched that game. I was like, no. I know what y'all say. I know what Paul Feinbaum said. The greatest thing since what, Tebow? And I was like, first of all, why you would use Tebow is funny.
Yeah, but here's Marcus. We got to stop throwing around, because I heard somebody say this, and it makes all the sense in the world to me. We got to stop throwing around this term generational talent so loosely because
I agree.
Because we just like the player. Listen,
I agree. How long is a generation?
But with all due respect, and I have nothing against Arch Manning. This just could be a bad game, and he has a fantastic season going forward. But what has he done or shown you that's generational outside of having his last name being Manning?
Last name being Manning, and he had that game last year against, I think it was against Ohio State. And a lot of people think that if he would have played earlier in that game, Texas may have won that game. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. Don't do nothing but rhyme.
That's
this
easy.
is what he had. He was the preseason Heisman hopeful. He was number one in height. Everybody been talking about Texas.
But keep in mind, Marcus,
I don't want to see Matthew McConaughey one more damn time.
But keep in mind, he did what he did last season, but they didn't game plan for him.
No,
they game plan for Ewers.
That's what people forget.
They didn't game plan for Arch. That's why he came out and did what he.
Yo, Tone, I was so conflicted watching that game because I was like, I'm gonna go for my Ohio teams. I'm an Ohio native. I'm a Cincinnati boy, so I had homies that played for O State. So I'm rolling with the Buckeyes. And then I remember, damn, Matt Patricia is the coach. He's the defensive coordinator. So now I'm feeling some kind of way. But I was like, if they put a shutout on Texas, I might have to be swayed to the other side. But Matt Patricia put on the show up there, man, because defense won that ball game. Arch Manning couldn't do jack. Couldn't do a damn thing. He was overthrowing. He was throwing balls in the dirt. And they were putting beads on him.
For sure. Make sure you guys smash that like button, man. Continue to stay locked in. We appreciate you guys.
Fanny asked if Brown is out at safety, who's our gunner? I didn't realize Brown was out.
Oh, no, I think she says our. I think she meant our. It probably was a typo because that R is next to the T on the keyboard. She probably meant if Brown is our safety, who's our gunner?
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, to her question, is Andrew McCooper still hurt?
Yeah. I believe if McCooper was not hurt, he would be deemed a starter.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, you have two gunners, obviously. Keely Ringo's one of them. But the other gunner, it's a good question.
That's the worst thing you can do is have a starting safety as the gunner in special teams, and then you got to go right back on the field, and you dog tired. Now, well, because I know it's different.
So I'm looking at
now.
I just checked the update here. It says Andrew McCooper returned to practice. This was yesterday. So it says
that doesn't mean he's gonna start. Was he with the
ones?
No,
you're right. But let me see if it says full or limited. It says rookie safety Drew McCooper returned to practice on Sunday afternoon as Eagles began their week of prep against the Cowboys. McCooper pulled his left hamstring. Okay. Not really specifying if he was full or limited.
See that's what worries me about McCooper. Because first preseason game, it was the shoulder. Now it's the hamstring. So now you got two spots that you got to worry about. There's two spots that you got to rehab. So hopefully this will be the last we hear of it. But I'm hoping, mid-season he ain't, put together with masking tape and bubble gum because he got to play. But that was a good get with bringing back Marcus Epps.
So Nick Sirianni said, because he was asked about the status of that position, safety, right? He says, quote, I think it's unsettled to the outside world. We got it pretty much settled in here. Just like injury information, I'm just not sharing that information quite yet. So
Right.
they apparently know how that's going to look come Thursday. I would imagine it's Monday, right? But they know exactly who's going to play, how it's going to look. They just haven't quite revealed the status of some of these guys. But again, it's going to be interesting to see schematically what Fangio does to kind of remedy the losses that they've sustained, in particular in the DB room. That's going to be really interesting to see because I expect Quinyon and Cooper. I'm just curious to see how Cooper DeJean moves around. That's what I'm really curious about because it's going to tell us a little bit about how they view certain positions because we've read about it, they talked about it, but when we actually see it in week one against a real game, against a real opponent, then it's going to be like, okay, they're clearly they got Cooper DeJean moving over here. They clearly have question marks about this guy, so they got this guy over here. Like it all remains to be seen, but a lot of our questions will be answered.
Yeah. Can y'all wait 2 days? Today's Monday.
Man, I'm excited.
Today's Monday. We play on Thursday. So all you got to do is
bro.
wait 2 days and all questions will be answered.
I know, man. Thursday night football, the banner drops.
Yeah.
Now, did you hear what Cam Jurgens said?
I did not.
Cam Jurgens is hilarious, bro. Listen to this. So I guess they asked Cam Jurgens about, just the banner and everything and whatnot, or I guess just the nature of the atmosphere. That's what it's going to be like on Thursday. He said, and I quote, "Who gives a damn if we're hanging something or whatever? We're playing the Cowboys. What other motivation do we need?"
I like that.
Listen, you can't establish a better message than what Nick Sirianni and these guys have tried to establish coming off the Super Bowl. They clearly, mentally and emotionally, are trying to keep the main thing, and all the messaging has been about the now and the forward, not what happened in the past.
Right.
Whatever happens this season, it's not going to be for like a trying. It's not going to be for like of trying to establish a new message, a new dogma to follow this season. They're trying to, with everything in their being, to keep everything on the Cowboys on this season. Even in Jalen Hurts' press conference, he was asked a lot about the past, and he was like, "Look, I ain't get a single question about these Cowboys. Somebody got to ask me something."
Right.
Like, I love when he does that, by the way. And my thing is, for some of the reporters who are in there, y'all been covering this guy for years. y'all gotta throw some relevant questions in there for him so he can at least you gotta soften him up. Give him some Cowboys questions,
or he gonna call you out.
Right, soften him up and then throw your questions that aren't relevant. You know what I mean? You gotta soften him up a little bit. Soften him up. Give him some questions about the Cowboys. I think Nick Sirianni said a similar thing, like, listen, this is about the Cowboys. We don't need no other motivation. Yeah. We know what's at stake here. We're not worried about. I think Nick Sirianni said something along the lines of, we don't care about what the goal was. We don't care about what the goal is. Right. We're focused on today and our opponent this week. We're not focused on where we're trying to go or where we've been. We're focused on where we are. What more can you ask for?
That's it in a nutshell, man. Stay focused and be ready to go. But I got supreme confidence that Fangio, Stoutland, Sirianni, they're gonna have these boys ready to go. I guess technically our biggest question mark is Patullo.
That is a conversation because Kevin Patullo, I think what doesn't get talked about enough is although he was the pass game coordinator for this team, not only has he been the right-hand man in Nick Sirianni, he's been listed as an assistant head coach for about 2 or 3 seasons, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Make sure I got this right here. But Kevin Patullo has been somebody who has been groomed and set up for this role. He came in 2021 as the pass game coordinator and was that in 2022 as well. Then in 2023, he elevated from passing coordinator and associate head coach, and that was his role for 2024 as well. So he's somebody that has been propped up in a way where and I mean that respectfully, he's been propped up in a way where the players see him already as an authoritative figure. Like he has that respect in the building.
Right.
So
right. That's the one thing
he already
has done a great job with, man. Is just their internal relationships have been spectacular.
Right. Outside of the 2023, setback. And look, I feel like every head coach has a season on their resume, or even a few seasons on their resume where they got the hires wrong. Everybody does. Like it's not, no one's above that.
That's not what I'm talking about though, because that's something that you can't control. I'm just talking about the guys that are in the locker room, and you have to throw in all of the strife and the things that you go through as a team during the season, because you got to deal with them. I'm not saying it like everything is always all good, because that doesn't happen. That's unrealistic. You go through your things. You go through your you go through AJ Brown's comments after Carolina. You go through the stuff that BG said. So those things happen in every locker room. Think about it. Think about this as just strictly as perspective. We came out on the other side. We came out platinum, not gold. We came out platinum because we got the ring and the ultimate chip. But think about this: when all of that rigmarole came out about AJ Brown and Jalen having beef with one another and all of that kind of stuff was going on, right? Now you put that here, and then you look at somebody like the Raiders, when you got somebody like, what was that kid's name? Christian Wilkins that they cut?
Yeah, the D tackle, yeah.
And all of the nonsense that was going on with that. So here you got one set of circumstances, one set of problems, and then you got another set of problems at another team, and then you compare and contrast. Which ones would you rather have to deal with? And they dealt with it. Didn't nobody get cut? It wasn't first, it wasn't all on social media.
Right.
Wasn't nobody trying to figure out what exactly did happen. So I'm saying that to say that as a team, the Philadelphia Eagles has got their locker room together. So when they come to those situations, they know how to get through them. Everybody can't say that.
They've been through a lot, Marcus, these past few seasons. And the Nick Sirianni era, they've been through a lot. And when you watch that mic'd up from the Super Bowl that they won, Super Bowl 59, and you really listen to the sideline conversations that these guys have individually amongst each other, that conversation between AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, we saw an extended version on when Jalen Hurts was named to the NFL Top 100. But we saw an extended version of that conversation when it first came out. We only saw a little clip, but we saw an extended part of that conversation.
There was a lot of layers. There was a lot of layers to that conversation.
Yeah, and they know they're on camera. They know they're mic'd up, so they're talking around it, but they know what they've been through, right? You know what I mean? Like me and you know what it takes to put this show together, right? Man, you have been through the minutia, the grind, trying to really carve out the identity of this program. No one will ever truly know. So when you think about what they've been through leading up to that moment, leading up to that pinnacle of success, trading for AJ Brown going into the 2022 season, having instant success, right? And then being humbled in 2023 when things seem to be going right, but in your heart, part of you was just waiting for the final straw to break the camel's back, because that 2023 season was very uncomfortable for everybody. They felt like they were successful so quickly, and now expectations are there, and they were just hovering. They were hovering, and then behind the scenes drama gets exposed. Whether it's true or not, we're not there. We all we can do is rely on reporters to authenticate some of these things. All we have are these anonymous sources. I try to take them with a grain of salt, but I think what can be definitively determined is that 2023 was a season that tested everybody's relationships, tested everybody's mettle, tested everybody's commitment to the goal. Right?
Yeah.
Teams that do what they did in 2022 don't always get the second crack at the apple. You know what I'm saying?
Not even close.
They don't get another crack at it. This team came back in the 2024-2025 season, grinded, got another crack at it, and not only did they win the game, they dominated and showed that this is what it should look like.
Yeah.
This is what we're capable of. This is what happens when the Philadelphia Eagles put it all together, and they did it all on the biggest stage. This Eagles team, Jalen Hurts and them boys, the conversation with Hurts and Devontae. Devontae not just crying because he home. You know what I'm saying? He crying because, damn, we done been through a lot of shit, dog. Devontae, you know what Devontae said to Hurts that really, really rocked me? He said, "Thank you for keeping this shit all together, man."
Exactly.
People like to pretend Jalen Hurts was I don't want to say the problem, but
nope. That's exactly what you should say.
He said
they want to pretend like he was the issue.
Yeah.
And
you're right. Let's call it what it is. They wanted to pretend like he was a guy that was hard to get along with, a guy that was hard to understand. When you know Jalen Hurts in that locker room, he's not hard to understand.
Right.
They work with him every day. They know him personally. Devontae did with the whole Alabama stuff together. AJ and Hurts been best friends for a long time. Or Jalen Hurts was there when he got drafted. Jalen Hurts was his pro day quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the godfather to his children. Like, they've been through a lot. They grown men getting a lot of money, and their relationship was tested. Now it's not just about supporting each other from a distance. Now we got to rely on each other. And when you get into business with your family, that relationship is going to be tested and every way.
Absolutely.
And for Devontae Smith to say, "Thanks for holding this shit together, man."
Yeah.
For AJ Brown to be on camera and say, "Yo, it's been through. It took a lot to get here, bro.
Absolutely,
it took a lot." And Jalen was just like, "I know, but it's a part of it."
You know what, man?
It's a part of it.
I always go, and I remember we talked about this at the end of the 23 season. I made mention of this, and I remember talking about when Fletcher Cox gave his speech after that Tampa game. And Fletcher Cox said, "I'm done. I'm out. This is about y'all."
I thought it was before the game.
It could have been before or after. I thought it was after. Because I don't think he told anybody he was retiring. I took it as afterwards because he made that plea about Sirianni. He was like, "This is the dude." And I remember thinking to myself, why did he do that? He didn't have to do that. Fletcher Cox is probably going to end up being a Hall of Famer. Obviously, he's going to end up being the Eagles Hall of Famer. And he had so much respect as the captain of that defense and of that team. For him to call out Nick Sirianni and tell everybody, "This is your guy," when he didn't have to do that. If he'd have just walked away and never would have said a thing, everybody still would have been all good. But he went out of his way to say that. That was
You're right. It was after the
It
was after the game. You're right.
That's what struck me, right? I was like, wait a minute. All of this stuff that's supposedly going around, and he gonna take the bullet for his coach? The crazy Flowers guy, that dude? That relationship had to be established. And that's when people finally started to realize and look at what type of person Sirianni is. Then they go back and look at what he was doing at Mount Union, the family he comes from. Then you start putting everything into place. When Fletch did that, that's when I was like, okay, we might have something special in our coach, but ain't everybody too worried about what he's saying to people in the stands. You concentrating on the wrong things. And we finally got over that. 2 Super Bowls and a victory later. Now you understand. And people still don't want to give him credit. And it's like, hey, we good with that.
Yeah.
Keep shining that ring, bro. Keep shining that ring. While y'all hating on us, you'll keep shining that ring, bro.
While they're so busy trying to do the science on why Jalen Hurts is successful. Because sometimes you can't. There's no metric for what Jalen Hurts provides to the Eagles. There's no metric. And I know that's not the sexy conversation. It's not something that people can, put a number on. They can't do the math on it. It's something, it's very esoteric. It's something that can't really be measured, right? And that doesn't, in most people's eyes, that doesn't deserve a conversation. That doesn't deserve credence or reverence, right? We don't care. Oh, you want to talk to me about the mentality? You want to talk to me about this immeasurable aura or immeasurable metric that Jalen Hurts provides the Eagles? Okay, listen, he doesn't throw for enough yards. He doesn't throw for enough touchdowns. I don't care about none of that, myth, magic, and mysticism. It's like, nah, it's not about that. There are some people in your life, you can't really explain it, but there's some people in your life that when they're around,
different
things tend to work out.
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
some people, we all have people in our lives that when that person is around, you feel way more comfortable about the outcome, whatever situation you're in, because they provide a sense of stability. They provide a sense of safety. Something about the way they communicate, something about the way they carry themselves, something about the way they speak when they're in the room, something about them makes you feel safe. My brother told me this a long time ago. I never gave him much thought because sometimes when you're a big brother, you're just trying to be the best version of yourself and live by example, right? My brother told me this a while back, and he said this as a grown man. He said, bro, I can tell you right now, it don't matter what's going on. If you say shit cool, all right, I ain't worried. If you not tripping, all right, I ain't tripping. If you got trust in what's happening right now, I got trust in what's happening right now. He can't. There's no tangible way to really explain that.
You know what it is? I used to say this all the time. As funny as this sounds, I used to say this all the time when I was at Apple. Because we were a real tight team and all that type of stuff. And I used to tell people, I used to say, if you got siblings, if you walk into your house and your brother or your sister got that look on their face, the first thing you say is, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
They ain't even got to say nothing. You see it and you know it. Unspoken communication. If my sister looks at me, Marky, you all right? Ain't even got to say nothing. Because the relationship is that strong and you've been around that long to where all you got to do is look. You know the facial features. You know the body language. You know when something ain't right. That means the relationship is tight.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in the locker room. You ain't even got to say nothing. All you got to do is look. Something ain't right. Dog, holler at me. What's wrong? You look like you hurting. You did that 30 times in practice last week. How come you ain't getting it done tonight? Talk to me. What's up? You see all of those things in real time, and you can address it in real time because the relationship is so tight. That's what was said with Devontae and AJ and Jalen on the sidelines. There was so much conversation that wasn't said in those short conversations. It was so much being said, but you only can see it. You can only decipher it if you've been in that type of relationship.
You can even throw in the Saquon conversation. Saquon walking up to him
Absolutely.
like, hey, is Jalen Hurts gonna smile now? Is Jalen Hurts gonna smile now? And all Jalen Hurts kept saying, listen, we proved that we could get here, but you were the final piece. You took this thing over the top.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts understands that I'm only as good as some of my parts. I can't be the player I need to be without those guys, right? Trent Wright has a comment over here. Can you pull it up? It says it starts with Jalen provided hope. Jalen provides hope. Can you pull it up by Trent Wright? He says Jalen provides hope. That's simple. When he's in the game, there's always a chance the Eagles can win. And then he has another comment that says intangibles at the quarterback position are necessary. Can you find that one? It's a couple below it. Intangibles at the quarterback position are necessary for long-term success, and Jalen's intangibles are top tier. Jalen Hurts is somebody that for some reason, when he's healthy, when he's playing in the game, I never feel like the Eagles are fully out of it. I never feel that way. I never feel I can't remember the last time I watched the game and I was like, oh no, like I just don't trust this guy. I don't trust this guy.
2 plays. when Jalen Hurts made that cut at home against the New Orleans Saints and he scored that touchdown. Who was the defensive end? Granderson?
Yeah, it was either Granderson or was Cam Jordan. It was one of those guys.
I think it was Granderson. But when
Yeah.
he made that cut and you heard the whole stadium go, "Ooh!" When he made that cut, I was like, that's our quarterback. And then the second time was when he went down the field against the Colts.
Oh yeah, that was a rough game.
Yeah,
that was a rough game all across the board. And
he went what 90 yards or whatever it was. But when he scored, he dropped back the middle open and he just walked in the end zone.
Walked in,
and I was like, he's the guy. That's the guy. And it's not going to look pretty. We knew it wasn't going to look pretty, but we didn't care because he kept winning and kept winning. Because remember what the national narrative was going to be like? Eventually, his luck was going to run out. You can't keep winning games like that. Eventually, it's going to catch up to him. This, that, and we kept dub. It just kept going.
He has a few of those signature moments in his career where you say, "Oh yeah, like he's the guy," right? One of my favorite moments, man. At this point, I already knew he was the guy, but like this is just another exclamation point to the opinion that he is the guy, right? That Buffalo game, torrential downpour, game started off ugly. Buffalo's cooking on all cylinders. That second half came. Jalen Hurts comes out and just starts dealing. Starts putting things together. The defense forced the turnover. I think James Bradbury picked off Josh Allen in that game. But that second half, Jalen Hurts just became a different guy. I'm seeing some of the moves he's making, the passes he's making, the decisions he's making. He just put the team on his back in that moment. Got them down the field.
And everybody can't do that.
Right. Give credit to Jake Elliott for making that kick to tie the game up to send it overtime. But he just consistently made the passes, consistently was just using everything in his toolkit to win that game. Jalen Hurts' will is something that's just so immense. And go ahead.
It's hard to sometimes it's hard to verbalize. For all my Dungeons and Dragons fans out there, how many times in the Eagles uniform has Jalen Hurts rolled a nat 20?
Hey, listen, for my Dragon Ball Z fans, how many times have we seen Goku's back against the wall? How many times have we seen Goku push to his limit? And one thing we always know when it's all said and done, that spirit bomb gonna come through. We know. Listen. When Goku was going through the tournament of power, having to go up against Jiren, one of the most powerful guys in all the galaxies. Yeah. Now I'm getting into the weeds. I'm getting into the weeds.
Thanks.
But y'all understand that there is certain people when they are around, you feel like the options don't run out. You feel like that there is always a chance. Goku provides that aura. He is a guy that no matter when it's all said and done, you trust him to get it done. Jalen Hurts, you trust him to get it done. You trust him. He's proven that.
Though? I heard something that Rube said this week. I was listening to the Eagle Eye podcast with him and Zangaro.
And
they were talking about Darius Cooper. And something that Rube said that struck me, and I was kind of offended because I'm a 1AA guy. I'm a small school guy.
Yeah.
And the one thing I always say is the 100 yards at my Eastern Kentucky was the same 100 yards that was at the Vet. It's the same 100 yards that are now at the Link. Doesn't matter. When they throw you the ball, do you catch it? When they give you the ball, do you run with it? That's what it comes down to. And the one thing Rube said, he kept saying how good Darius Cooper was because you don't expect somebody like that. And what did he say? He said he saw him standing next to Jihaad Dotson, and he said he just looked the part. And I was like, well, hold on. What does look the part mean? Because there's plenty of guys that are 5'10 and 5'11 receivers in the NFL that are all pro. Did Steve Smith look the part?
Marcus, it's so funny.
Did Cooper Cooper Kupp look the part? No. When they get in the game and you throw them the ball, you put the ball in their hands, do they make it happen? That should be the only thing that matters. And the reason why I bring that up is because that right there what Rube said and how he said it is why they don't give Jalen Hurts the respect
because he doesn't look the part.
Because he doesn't look the part.
But see,
it has nothing to do with his talent.
But here's the thing, though. I would say Jalen does look the part, and I guess that means different things for different people, right?
Well,
Jalen Hurts is presidential. He carries himself with grace. Handsome young brother, comes from a good family. Football is his life. Everything he knows, puts his all into this sport. Now, he's not 6'5". He's not 6'5".
That's not the part they're looking at, though.
I know.
That's
he's not 6'5". He don't got the cannon arm.
Because guess what? We throw all of those extra stuff in there because that's what we're looking for, and it justifies.
Because we're talking franchise quarterback, by the way. Remember, franchise quarterback. He looks franchise, but does he look like the quarterback that you want? That's because he's definitely franchise. Suits to the games, briefcase. He's franchise.
You got to be 6'3" and above, and you got to throw the ball for 4,500 yards a year.
You know what somebody said?
That's it.
I can't remember who said it. They said Jalen Hurts. Maybe it was Colin Cowherd, but he said Jalen Hurts is the kind of guy that you would love running your Fortune 500 company. Just how he doesn't. He's not emotional. Doesn't get too high, too low, all that kind of stuff, right? But they do. But again, to your point, they diminish his measurables. Not tall enough. Not the biggest arm. He's not the fastest either. Jalen Hurts is more of a power runner.
He's fast enough. He can throw the ball good enough. But there's always somebody or something else that they're looking for as the standard. And that's the problem. Because we've had so many standards that didn't win. People are still looking for it. And that's what rubbed me the wrong way when Rube said it, how he said it. Like, what does look the part mean? The only way you can look the part is when you get on the field and you get the ball. That's when you look the part.
Now, to his point, I would argue in that Bengals game, he looked the part. Now, granted, it's a preseason game, but when I saw the way he was moving, the way he was looking that ball in, just the way his release at the line of scrimmage, he looked the part then.
Right.
So, but there is something to that, though, when I know you say, hey, what does he mean by that when he says that?
But no, I knew exactly what he meant.
Yeah, but there is sometimes where you kind of just like, oh no, he just looks like he looks the part. It's something about that guy. And I don't think he meant it negatively.
No. I know he didn't. But that's my point. Why is that? Even with everything that we've seen, why is that always the standard?
Looking the part. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Because to something I mentioned earlier, how many first-round picks, and stick to quarterback, how many first-round picks did not pan out? And if you get picked, with the exception of maybe Bryce Young, when you get picked number one at quarterback for an NFL team, you're supposed to look the part. Now you got some exceptions. You got a Kyler Murray. You got a Bryce Young. But you look at everybody else, they got to be 6'3", 6'4". Everybody wants to just check off those boxes. You know what I'm saying? When you go in the grocery store, do you buy the meat that's sitting on top, or do you go to the bottom of the pile? Because the meat on top has the stuff that's been sitting out for the longest. That's going to spoil the quickest. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Everybody's still grabbing for what's on top, even though it has been proven that more times than not, it doesn't pan out. But they're still looking for it.
It's funny, man. Like when I really think about it historically, right? They said Drew Brees didn't technically look the part. He was short.
Exactly.
Got it done. Russell Wilson didn't technically look the part. Guys like Drew Brees and Russell Wilson made it okay to draft guys like Baker Mayfield.
Stop at Drew Brees real quick, because we all know why Drew Brees went to New Orleans. That was Eli Manning's fault. Eli Manning is the reason they got what's his name, Phillip Rivers. And
because Eli was supposed to go to San Diego.
Phillip Rivers threw for all of them thousands of yards. He'll probably end up going into the Hall of Fame. He threw for a crap ton of yards. Never won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Never got the ultimate prize. But
you
he
know,
checked all the boxes.
yeah, and look, sometimes you could argue, look, maybe Drew Brees doesn't win a Super Bowl if he stays in San Diego. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much that goes into it. It's so much that goes into it. But looking the part means nothing ultimately when you're not winning football games, right? And looking the part, I'm willing to argue. I stand on this hill, and I don't care nobody says. I promise you, if Jalen Hurts' career was exactly the same, everything he did was exactly the same, but he looked like Trevor Lawrence, they'd be like, "Oh my God, man, one of the best first round draft picks, in the past 5 years. I mean, Super Bowl championship in his first 5 years. Like that's a first round draft pick, a guy who delivers, a guy who delivers."
He would be on the same plane as Andrew Luck.
Yes. If again, I stand by this. If everything was the same, the stats and everything.
Andrew Luck was the one that lived up to the hype. The only problem is they beat him the hell up too soon.
Beat him down.
They beat him the hell up too soon. He was going to win a Super Bowl for the Colts.
At some point, I think so, yeah.
He was going to live up to the hype. I had no doubt. But I don't know what did they do the same thing that the Giants did? They didn't draft no offensive line. Like what was the problem?
Mm-hmm.
You had skilled players, but it just you beat the hell out of him, and you beat him up so bad he walked away from the game.
That's why it's important to continue to invest in your assets, your prized assets. I mean, that's why I love and give Howie Roseman and the Eagles so much credit for doing what they did. They identified a player. Listen, we all know that the Eagles were trying to get Deshaun Watson. We all know they were trying to make a play for Russell Wilson. It didn't pan out. Okay, nonetheless, the Eagles decided to double down and invest in Jalen Hurts. Quietly. And this is what I mean by quietly. Jalen Hurts' first year starting. What did they do? Okay, we go get him a wide receiver in Devontae Smith in the draft, and we draft Landon Dickerson in the second round. The football gods would have it. Isaac Seumalo and Brandon Brooks both go down in 2021 for in the first couple weeks of the season. So you lose both your interior guards. Landon Dickerson is able to step up and show why he was drafted that high in the second round, overcoming his injury history in college. Nate Herbig steps up at guard as well. Now Nate Herbig was a rotational guy, so they were compromised on the interior. But the bottom line is, Jalen Hurts. I'm losing my train of thought. Jalen Hurts, you invest in the guy. There it is. You have to invest in the guy to get the best out of him. And they quietly did it. You draft Devontae Smith, you draft Landon Dickerson. Okay, let's see what he does with that.
Yeah, but why is that so out of the you're supposed to put players around your
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, right? But it's used as a way to diminish Jalen Hurts as if he wasn't here in the mud getting it with his guys. Yeah, the goal is to find a guy.
Chris Sims said he was the most overrated quarterback in the league because he plays behind the offensive line. And Chris Sims said this. You could put Kyler Murray behind that offensive line, and you'd be like, Kyler Murray is incredible. And I was like, no, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, you couldn't.
Real quick, Ty, can you pull up Ty? That's the most recent comment. He says, I wouldn't say quietly. Here's why I say quietly. I say quietly because they were trying to get Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson after that 2021 season. So even with Jalen Hurts doing what he did, they still felt like, we can get better there.
Yeah.
So the 2021 season was like a soft launch for Jalen Hurts, in my opinion. That was a soft launch.
And even I'm sorry, go ahead.
And he made it to the playoffs, went 9-8. Devontae Smith had his rookie season the way he had, and then 2022 comes. Okay, they can't get Russell, they can't get Deshaun Watson. Okay, they trade for AJ Brown. So now it's like, okay, let's trade for AJ Brown. Let's draft another offensive lineman and Cam Jurgens. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now we got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert's right there. We already have Miles Sanders on the roster. The offensive line is what it is. So then Jalen Hurts did what he did in 2022. And they're like, oh, shit, we really got something here. And you know what they do? They pay him. They invest in him more. My point is, though, my overall point is they found a guy They developed the guy. They invested in the guy. And they won with the guy. That's how the path should go. This isn't like some guy the Eagles found on free agency and they just put him into a situation and he just managed to maximize this roster, right? This isn't some weird thing. The Eagles drafted Hurts, evaluated Hurts, developed Hurts, invested in Hurts in and around him. And they won with the player. That's every GM's goal. Draft, develop, win. Draft, develop, pay, win. Or draft, develop, win, pay, whatever comes first.
Right.
That's how you so I guess I get so angry or peeved, or I'm like, yo, the Eagles built this. Jalen Hurts was built in this. He was forged in this. This is something that they built. He's not just some guy that just walked into the building and everything was here. He took over a 4-11-1 team. 4-11-1. When the offensive line was compromised, coming up from one of their most injury-riddled seasons. We didn't know what Lane Johnson said that he's stronger now than he was in 2021, 2020 right. Because of, remember, he dealt with the ankle injuries. We didn't know where Lane Johnson's future held. We didn't know if Jason Kelce was going to keep going. He was mulling retirement, remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
We didn't know what Landon Dickerson was going to become. We didn't know if Jordan Mailata really had it. You know, that season he got an extension. That was his first year being the official starter. The season prior, he started a lot of games because Jason Peters and the guys got hurt and Andrew Dillard got benched. But he was the official starter in 2021, and then they paid him. Like, this isn't some magic happenstance that Jalen Hurts has been blessed with. He's been through the mud with this team, building it brick by brick by brick. And I'm not going to sit here and a lot of people diminish him or disrespect him like he's just happy to be here.
Exactly. And that's what people do because there's been so many situations where their guy couldn't get it done.
And a lot of those guys, I'm so glad K. Robinson said this. A lot of those guys stayed because they sensed Jalen Hurts has something.
Right.
Lane Johnson stayed because he's like, yo, this kid has it. Fletcher Cox, this kid has it. Jason Kelce, there's something about this guy. He has it.
He had it. And even look at what you mentioned, we missed on Russ Wilson. I saw that interview with what's his name? The GM. He was the GM when I was playing. But he said they were going to take Russ Wilson, but they didn't think they had to move up to get him. Well, why didn't you move up? Is he was your guy. The reason why they didn't move up is because Russ Wilson is only 5'10", 5'11", and he didn't check off all the boxes. Because if he did, somebody else would have went up and snagged him.
And Howie said, I'm never letting that happen again.
Yep.
If I want a guy, I'm going to get him.
If you want a guy that's going to get him, go get him. And that's exactly what we've been
doing.
Joe
Douglas. What was it, Joe Douglas?
No, it was
Was it Banner?
Joe Banner.
Joe Banner, that's what it was.
Yeah. Joe Banner. So
yeah, but yeah, like you this is why like Jalen Hurts coming into this 2025 season, he's entering year 6, his 5th year technically as a starter. He's entering year 6, and he's seasoned. He's a veteran, a young veteran at that. He's his first 6 seasons in the league. His first 5 seasons in the league have been very, very. You can make a movie about Jalen Hurts' football career.
Thus far, absolutely.
You can make a movie about it, and the movie can end when that confetti falls in 2024, 2025.
Because technically, he went through the things that everybody expect. He had a pretty decent rookie year. He had a pretty hellacious sophomore slump. Then he comes back. Then we go to the Super Bowl. Then he comes back after that, and then we shit the bed at the end. Then he comes back after that, after they told him nobody goes back to the Super Bowl after losing your first one. Then he gets back to the Super Bowl and he wins it and becomes MVP.
This is a movie.
So
he's endured every stage of this thing. The doubt in coming out of college. Should he change his position? He's going through the doubt. Then he experienced the rise.
Right. And like Fanny's talking about, the benching, the proposing on the podium, he doesn't fit the narrative. He changed the narrative, all of that type of stuff. You 100% right. right
Yes,
there, smack dab in the middle of it, and folks still making excuses.
exactly. Experiencing the doubt, experiencing the rise, experiencing the humbling and the ego death and the fall. Then the redemption arc. This is film. This is theater. This is cinema. What we have here in Philadelphia, and people don't understand it, or either they don't want to understand it, whatever it may be. This is something that I am grateful to be a part of. I'm grateful. I've experienced some of the most dramatic growth in my channel and my content because of what those boys accomplished in 2024, 2025. But all of us have.
Yeah.
All of us have. And that was and the 2024 season was a redemption arc for me. I've been through a lot from the 2023, 2024. You know, man, you talk behind the scenes. You know what I've been through in my previous landing spots. Let's call it that way, right? And 2024 was a big year for me, just finding myself again in this content space. And this Philadelphia Eagles team, with everything they provided, the good, the bad, the ugly, the highs, the lows, all goes into that pot. And it doesn't happen without guys like Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Howie Roseman, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, all these guys, Lane Johnson, the vets, and the Kelseys of the world, the Meladas, the Quinyon Mitchell, the Cooper DeJeans, the Jalen Carters. I can go on and on. All these guys, the Nolan Smiths, the Eagles have built this thing brick by brick by brick by brick. But I'm supposed to just be okay with you guys lazily saying super team when y'all don't consider our guys in any of these top 5, top 10 discussions, but we're a super team though.
So, but here's the flawed logic in that. And it's so funny because it's not complicated and it's not hard to distinguish. You other fans would rather not have a super team just to say their quarterback threw the ball for 8,000 yards.
That's that new era. That's that fantasy football logic.
That's that fantasy football logic. So you would rather have a average running back, have a average offensive line, maybe a below average defense, maybe just okay secondary, average linebackers, and maybe you got a stud at one position out there at free safety or cornerback or something like that. So you would rather have that rather than construct your team to have a dominant defensive line, a dominant offensive line, a dominant running back, dominant linebackers. And I don't understand that. Why is Jalen Hurts getting demonized? Because Howie Roseman did what the hell he was supposed to do.
Because their GMs are so flawed and incapable, they had to point the finger at somebody else. There has to be something that Howie's doing that's under the table. Like we have to find somebody. We got to find somebody to criticize. So you know what, Jalen Hurts is the easy target. Every GM, their goal is to draft a guy, no matter if it's the first round or the 7th round. If it's a guy, if you draft a quarterback that you believe in, the goal is to forget what they say, how it should look. Do you believe in this guy?
Exactly.
Let's start there. Do you
believe what you see on film?
Do you believe in this guy? Do you believe that what he provides is enough to build around to get you to a Super Bowl victory? If you can answer that question with confidence, forget what they're saying about him. And as the player, forget what they're saying about you. As the GM, build around that guy, build around his strengths, build around his flaws, and the chips fall where they may. And too often, these GMs, they get these super talented quarterbacks and they get lazy. They get lazy or they get cute or they think, okay, we don't got to invest in here because we got this guy.
Yeah, but I think where they mess up is just because somebody is super talented does not mean they are talented.
Right. Or just because somebody's super talented doesn't mean you build less around them because you think they can cover holes.
Or I've seen people that get all the talent in the world and just can't seem to put it together when they step on the field. Why? How come you beasting everybody in practice, but when we play in the games, it's like, why you lift like Tarzan but play like Jane? Like, what's going on with this? And there are some people that just can't figure it out. There's some people that were all world. Why you think every year in Little League and in high school, there's some kid in the country that is just beasting everybody Oh, he going to the pros. He going to the pros. You know, look how good he is. And then they get into college and they don't do a damn thing. Because you realize everybody is good, and then you got to do the other things to elevate yourself so you become the cream that rises to the top. Everybody can't do that. And we see that time and time again. The problem is that when you have guys like that, there's too much ego involved, back to the Jerry Jones conversation, that you put your ego in your word to say, this is the guy. And when he turns out to not be the guy, you got to stick with him because you done told everybody it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? You take the L.
I agree 100%, man. Listen, you guys, it's Dallas week. The NFL season is here. Week 1 is starting 2 days from now, 3 days from now. This is what it all amounts to. We have the right to sit on our perch and watch this team with confidence, talk trash with confidence, because we've seen it get done. We know what this team can do at their heights. This is a new look, new team, and now it's time for them to establish a new identity, new goals, and it starts with winning 1 week at a time, you guys. And we're going to be covering it the entire way, you guys. We appreciate y'all for being locked in on this new look version of what me and Marcus provide you guys. Like I said, we never really gave it a name. We were just calling it the Eagles offseason show or your pregame show. Now this is the Bald Eagles podcast. You guys are going to be getting us twice a week from here on out. You guys are going to be getting us for pre-games on game days. You're going to be getting us on Tuesdays?
Tuesdays, the day off, the
Tuesdays.
NFL day off.
Tuesdays, the NFL day off. So you guys are going to get us twice a week. The Bald Eagles podcast and the content is going to continue to flow. We appreciate y'all. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Pro Fan Talk. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Chalk It Up Sports. Marcus, any final words, big dog?
I'm ready to go, man. Tired of all of the talk. I'm ready for let's get the game plan together. Let's get the working. Whoever's going to be on the field is who going to be on the field. We'll figure out the rest of it after the game. Absolutely, man. On that note, listen, y'all been tuned into the Bald Eagles podcast. It got a nice ring to it, don't it? Yes, sir. Roll off the top.
It's so true to us. You feel what I'm saying? So Again, you guys, we appreciate y'all. Again, this has been the Bald Eagles podcast. I'm Tony DeShields II. Hey, Marcus, play that song, man.
Go Birds.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tony and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Fly guys in the zone, never let us stray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. I like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tony and Markus always standing by, bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tony and Markus always standing by, bringing their heat, call it do or die.